Well, clearly, financing is an absolutely essential part of attaining the Sustainability Development Goals, and the Sustainability Development Goals include the goals for education, which is clearly at the heart of all sustainable development, and I'm very interested in how the private sector can be used to help the public sector in delivering on the goals. Well, the whole point of this meeting, as far as I'm concerned, is to get the financing in behind the Sustainability Development Goals. And without the financing, we're not going to achieve them.
From a civil society perspective, this meeting is so important, I think, for three reasons. The first is that it's obviously a precursor to the discussions that will take place in New York in September, when the new Sustainable Development Framework will be unveiled. The big question is, how's that going to be paid for? And this week will answer some of those questions, or at least it's hoped that it will go some way to answering some of those questions. So that's the first big reason why this meeting is so important for civil society. The second reason is that civil society organisations, many of them, remember that you could argue that the first 5 years of the millennium were lost years in terms of financing and making progress on the MDG framework, mainly because the nuts and bolts of how it was going to be paid for weren't in place, weren't finalised. Civil society organisations want to guard against that and make sure that there's a robust financing framework in place to make sure that the SDGs live up to their promise. The third reason why civil society organisations feel that this meeting is so important is that, yes, commitments can be made in broad terms towards financing for development, but it's the details really that matter. How are, for example, public-private partnerships made accountable, made transparent? How can civil society organisations participate in some of the new ways of financing development initiatives? Those are some of the detailed technical questions that civil society organisations have a strong interest in and can see themselves as playing a part in.
Well, I think the meeting in Addis Ababa is very important for Commonwealth local government throughout the Commonwealth, because we feel that if we're going to move towards the post-2015 development agenda, to be really successful, the new development goals have to be driven bottom up. But of course, there's no good having them driven bottom up from local governments, from communities, from the grassroots, unless there's resources and unless there's money on the table. And so we feel that as well as localizing, to use the jargon, the SDGs, you also got to localize the resources. That's a message that seems to be getting through here at Addis.